Hello, darlings. I'm Megan.
And I'm Matt.
And welcome to College Uncomplicated's Financial Aid Bootcamp.
So in the past couple of weeks, we've talked about how to get a financial aid package. This week, we're going to be talking about how to understand it, analyze it, and make sure that you're making the most sound financial decisions you can.
You have to realize, though, there's not one set way to analyze a financial aid package. We can't tell you what's good for you or bad for you. It really just depends on your personal financial and family situation. But we certainly can tell you some things that you need to consider.
Oddly enough, analyzing your financial aid package actually starts before you get it. Once you fill out the FAFSA, we talked about the fact that you'll get the expected family contribution. Once you know your family's EFC, you need to have a really frank and honest conversation with your parents. This conversation needs to cover whether you can expect them to help you pay for college, and if they can, whether the EFC is actually feasible for your parents to pay.
If it turns out that your parents actually aren't going to help you with your EFC, or your EFC is too much, you're going to have to sit down and really think about some other financial avenues.
Some of these other financial aid avenues include going to a community college before transferring to a four-year institution, looking into additional sources of funding by writing an appeal letter to your university, looking for scholarships and grants that you can apply for, and also looking into additional loans that you can take out to help pay for your education.
And if you're interested in learning about how to write an appeal or apply for scholarships, that's actually our next two videos in our series, so keep a lookout for those.
Looking at your family's EFC is only the first part of analyzing your financial aid award. The next part happens after you receive your financial aid package from your specific university. After receiving your financial aid package, the first thing you need to do is look to see if you have any unmet need.
How you calculate unmet need is the cost of attendance of the university minus your expected family contribution minus the given aid from that university, your financial aid package. So after you do this calculation and find that there is unmet need from your financial aid package, you should really consider writing an appeal letter, whether or not that unmet need is manageable for you and your family. The worst thing that they can do is say no. The next thing that you should really look at is the requirements for the free money, your grants and scholarships.
Like we said before, grants and scholarships come with strings attached, so you need to be aware of those strings in order to be most successful at your institution. For instance, some scholarships require that students take 15 hours during their first semester. For a lot of first semester freshmen, that is a really heavy course load, and some people might not be as successful. So if you don't feel comfortable taking 15 hours, maybe you should look into additional funding sources to offset that amount. The other major string type that comes along with scholarships and grants is typically GPA. Many institutional merit-based scholarships have very high GPA requirements, often above a 3.0 or a 3.2. Choose to accept one of these scholarships with high GPA requirements. Take that into consideration when planning things like your study schedule, what classes to take during your first semester, and whether or not to go to that frat party on the weekend.
Yeah! And just as grants and scholarships affect your academic life, so does work study. Realize that if you take on work study, you will actually have a job that you have to go to. Do you think you can handle that on top of your course load? Another thing to realize is that work study is just like a job. It's not applied to your bill at the beginning of the year. You have to work your hours at your work study job in order to get a paycheck. While this may seem fine, it can be really difficult at the beginning of the academic year or the semester when you have random fees like books, rent, etc. that you need money to pay for. So a good question to ask yourself is whether or not you can handle all of those fees without your work study at the beginning of the semester.
And the final thing to look at when you're analyzing your financial aid package is the loans. Now, loans can be a little bit tricky, especially because there's so many different types that you can take out. But the things to look at are whether you're comfortable taking out unsubsidized loans or subsidized loans, whether you have a Parent Plus loan and whether your parents need to become involved through a credit check or through another process. And then also just the amount of loans that you have. Are you comfortable taking out $5,000 in loans, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to help fund your education? There's a lot of differing opinions about what is a good amount of loans to take out. Some people say up to $80,000, some say try and not take out any at all. But in my opinion, a good rule of thumb is don't take out more in loans than you expect to make the first year after you graduate. So if you're an engineering major, you can expect to probably make anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 straight out of your engineering degree. But if you're humanities or social science majors and are interested in going into the nonprofit field, for instance, taking out more than $30,000 to $35,000 might not be a good idea.
And honestly, we realize that loans can be really intimidating, especially the repayment process. That's why the very last episode in the series is really really going to focus on what you're going to do with your loans after you graduate.
The one piece of advice we want you to take away from this video is that you need to have frank and open conversations with your parents about financing college in order to make the best monetary decisions for both you and your parents.
And if you find out during this process that your parents are unable or unwilling to contribute to your education, seek out advice from other people. For instance, you can talk to your high school counselor, maybe a teacher that you really trust, or college administrators.
And that's it for this week. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like it as well as leave any questions in the comment section below.
You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter and Pinterest at College Uncomp.
And as always, be sure to subscribe to College Uncomplicated for more financial aid boot camp.
Until next week, I'm Megan.
And I'm Matt.
See you later. Bye. Ooh.